I never imagined that a simple late-night drive could turn into a nightmare, but that's exactly what happened one fateful evening. It was a moonless night, and the only source of light came from the dim glow of my car's headlights as I navigated the winding, desolate road through the forest. I had decided to take a shortcut through the woods to reach my destination faster. My GPS showed this route as a viable option, albeit an eerie one. The trees loomed like shadowy giants, their branches forming gnarled claws that reached out menacingly. The air felt unusually cold, and an unsettling sense of isolation crept over me. As I drove deeper into the woods, I noticed something peculiar. Strange markings adorned the trees, like ancient symbols etched into the bark. They seemed to glow faintly, pulsating with an eerie green light. I couldn't help but shudder as I passed them by. The forest seemed to close in around me, and I could feel the weight of its history pressing down on me. I told myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, that I was overreacting to the darkness and isolation. But then, the engine suddenly sputtered and died, plunging me into complete darkness. My heart pounded in my chest as panic set in. I tried to restart the engine, but it remained stubbornly silent. With trembling hands, I reached for my phone to call for help, but there was no signal. I was alone, stranded in the middle of nowhere. As I sat in the darkness, a sense of unease washed over me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I peered out into the inky blackness beyond my windshield, straining my eyes to see anything. That's when I heard it, a soft, echoing whisper, like the wind rustling through the leaves. Stay here," the voice murmured, barely audible. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. Who could be out here in the middle of the night, whispering in the darkness? I thought of the strange markings on the trees, and a shiver ran down my spine. I summoned all my courage and decided to get out of the car. Maybe I could find help, or at least figure out what was going on. As I stepped out onto the gravel road, I could see my breath in the frigid air. The silence of the forest was broken only by the soft crunch of my footsteps. I followed the source of the whisper, my heart pounding in my chest. The sound seemed to lead me deeper into the woods, away from my car. Each step felt like an eternity, and the trees closed in around me like a suffocating embrace. Then I saw it, a flicker of movement in the shadows. I froze, my eyes fixed on the figure that emerged from the darkness. It was a woman, her hair disheveled and her clothes tattered. She looked like she had been lost in the woods for days. "Help me," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "Please, you have to help me." My instincts told me to run, to get as far away from this woman as possible, but I couldn't bring myself to abandon her in the darkness. I took a cautious step forward, my heart still racing. "What happened?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She hesitated for a moment, her eyes filled with fear. It's not safe here. There are things in these woods, terrible things. We need to leave now." Before I could respond, a low guttural growl echoed through the forest, sending a chill down my spine. Something was out there, something lurking in the darkness. We began to run, the woman and I, our footsteps echoing through the silent forest. Branches and thorns scratched at my skin, and I could hear the creature behind us, gaining ground with each passing moment. Just when I thought we were doomed, we burst out of the woods and into the open. My car sat there, the engine purring to life as if it had never failed. I didn't waste a second. We jumped inside and sped away, leaving the forest and the horrors within it behind. As I drove, I stole a glance at the woman beside me. She looked at me with wide, terrified ease. "Thank you," she whispered. "You saved my life." I nodded, my heart still racing. I couldn't shake the feeling that we had narrowly escaped something unspeakable in those woods. As I dropped her off at her destination, she turned to me and said, "You should never drive through those woods at night. They're cursed, and they'll never let you go." With those haunting words, she disappeared into the night. I drove home, the encounter replaying in my mind. The forest, the The strange markings, the whispered warnings, all of it sent shivers down my spine. But the twist in the end? As I pulled into my driveway, I glanced at my rearview mirror, and for a brief, chilling moment, I saw those same glowing symbols etched into the trees behind my house, pulsating with an eerie green light. If you liked today's story, do like and subscribe and comment down below what video should I make next. Thank you.